Hi, my name is Emily. I'm 34 years old, and until a year ago, I thought I had the perfect life, a loving husband, a stepdaughter I adored, and a career I was proud of. But all that changed when I discovered just how far someone could go to tear apart a family. When I married my husband, Michael, 3 years ago, I knew his 14-year-old daughter, Chloe, would be a part of the package. She was bright, a little shy, and still adjusting to her parents' divorce. I did everything I could to make her feel loved and supported. I helped with her homework, attended her school plays, and planned fun weekend outings. But as time went on, things began to shift. Chloe grew distant, and her behavior changed. At first, I thought it was just teenage angst, but soon, I realized there was more to the story. It started with small things, missing items around the house, snide comments muttered under her breath, and a sudden unwillingness to spend time with me. Then came the accusations. "Dad, Emily doesn't like me," she told Michael one evening after dinner. Michael looked at me, confused. "What are you talking about, Chloe? Emily's always been kind to you." Chloe crossed her arms and gave me a glare. "You don't see the way she talks to me when you're not around." I was stunned. "Chloe, that's not true. I've never said anything mean to you." But the doubt was already planted in Michael's mind. Over the next few months, Chloe's accusations escalated. She claimed I ignored her, blamed her for things I didn't do, and even made up stories about me yelling at her when Michael wasn't home. One night, Michael confronted me. "Emily, Chloe says you've been treating her unfairly. What's going on?" I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. "Michael, none of that is true. I don't know why she's saying these things." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I don't know what to believe anymore." The tension in our home was unbearable. Michael was caught between his daughter and me, and no matter how much I tried to prove my innocence, Chloe always found a way to make me look like the villain. The final straw came on Chloe's 15th birthday. I had spent weeks planning a special day for her, a surprise party with all her friends, her favorite cake, and decorations in her favorite colors. But when she walked in, instead of being happy, she burst into tears. "Why did you do this without asking me?" she sobbed. "You ruined everything." Michael rushed to her side, glaring at me. "Emily, why would you plan something she didn't want?" I was heartbroken. I thought she'd like it. I was trying to make her happy. Chloe stormed out, leaving me standing there in front of the confused guests. It was clear that no matter what I did, I could never win. After Chloe's meltdown at her birthday party, everything spiraled out of control. Michael's trust in me eroded even further, and I began to feel like a stranger in my own home. Chloe's behavior grew bolder. She started twisting my words, fabricating events that never happened, and constantly playing the victim. One day, Michael confronted me with something that left me speechless. "Chloe told me you said she wasn't welcome in this house anymore. Is that true?" I felt my stomach drop. "What? Michael, I would never say that." "She said you told her yesterday, after I left for work," he pressed, his tone sharp. "Michael, I've spent the last 2 days preparing her favorite meal and cleaning up for her study group. Why would I do that if I didn't want her here?" But no matter how much I tried to explain, Chloe's tears and trembling voice always seemed to win him over. One evening, I overheard Chloe talking on the phone in her room. Her door was slightly ajar, and I couldn't help but listen. "She's going to leave soon. I know it. Dad can't stand how she treats me. I just have to keep this up a little longer," she whispered, laughing softly. I froze in place, my heart pounding. This wasn't a misunderstanding, this was deliberate. Chloe was orchestrating my downfall, and Michael was falling for it. I knew I had to act, but how could I prove what I heard without coming across as paranoid or vindictive? Things came to a head one fateful night. Michael came home from work, his expression unreadable. He sat me down in the living room, Chloe lurking in the background with a smug smile on her face. "Emily, I can't do this anymore," he said, his voice trembling. "Chloe feels unsafe around you, and I can't have that in my house. I think it's best if you stay somewhere else for a while." Tears welled up in my eyes. "Michael, are you serious? You're asking me to leave because of lies she's telling you?" "I don't know what's true anymore," he admitted, looking away. Chloe smirked behind him, a look of triumph flashing across her face. With a heavy heart, I packed a bag and left the house that night, but as I walked out the door, I promised myself one thing: I would not let Chloe win. Staying at a friend's place gave me time to think. I went over every interaction, every argument, and every detail that might prove my innocence. Chloe's behavior wasn't just a rebellious teenager acting out, it was manipulative and calculated. I decided to take a bold step. If Chloe wanted to destroy me, I would fight back, but not in anger. I would do it with the truth. First, I reached out to a family therapist, explaining the situation and asking for advice. Then, I began documenting everything: texts, notes, overheard conversations, even comments Chloe made in front of others. The first step to regaining control was building an undeniable case, and I was ready to see it through. With my plan in place, I started gathering evidence to expose Chloe's lies. The family therapist I consulted emphasized the importance of a calm, methodical approach. Chloe's manipulative tactics relied on creating chaos, and I needed to counter that with clarity and proof. One day, I decided to visit Chloe's school. I had always respected her privacy, but I suspected that her behavior at home might mirror her behavior elsewhere. I met with her guidance counselor, Mrs. Adams, under the guise of discussing Chloe's academic progress. Mrs. Adams greeted me warmly but looked hesitant. "Actually, I've been meaning to speak with someone about Chloe. She's incredibly bright, but I've noticed some concerning patterns. She often blames others when things don't go her way and can be, let's say, manipulative in social settings." Hearing this validated everything I had been experiencing. "Has she ever mentioned any issues at home?" I asked cautiously. "She's brought up some conflicts," Mrs. Adams said delicately. "But the stories don't always align." I've been hesitant to intervene without concrete evidence. Her words were a revelation. Chloe's behavior wasn't just targeted at me, it was a consistent pattern. Back at my temporary residence, I combed through old texts and emails. I even found a journal Chloe had accidentally left out one day, a collection of her grievances, twisted half-truths, and fabricated stories about me. One entry stood out: "If Dad thinks she's the bad guy, I can finally get the attention I deserve." It was chilling to read, but it solidified my resolve. Chloe's actions were rooted in insecurity, but they were causing real harm. The turning point came when I received an unexpected text from one of Chloe's friends, Mia. She'd overheard Chloe bragging about how she got rid of me and felt compelled to reach out. She said it was all part of her plan to make you look bad. "I thought you should know," Mia wrote. Armed with this message and the growing mountain of evidence, I knew it was time to confront Michael. But I also wanted Chloe to face the consequences of her actions in a way that encouraged accountability rather than outright punishment. I arranged a meeting at the therapist's office, where I presented my findings to Michael. As I spoke, I could see the realization dawning on his face. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" he asked, guilt evident in his eyes. "I tried, Michael. But you were too blinded by Chloe's manipulation to see it," I replied. "I love her, but this behavior has to stop, for everyone's sake." When Chloe was brought into the session, her initial defiance quickly crumbled under the weight of the evidence. The therapist guided the conversation, ensuring it remained constructive. I wanted you to notice me more," Chloe admitted tearfully. "It felt like she was taking you away from me. For the first time in months, I saw a glimmer of the vulnerable teenager Chloe truly was beneath the scheming facade. It was clear she needed help, and as a family, we committed to getting it for her. But I also made it clear, I wouldn't tolerate being treated as a scapegoat anymore. Boundaries were set, and Michael apologized profusely for doubting me. The confrontation in the therapist's office marked a turning point, but it wasn't the end of the journey, it was only the beginning. Michael was overcome with remorse for his earlier behavior. He took me out to dinner to apologize properly, away from the tension of home. "I should have trusted you," he admitted, his voice heavy with guilt. I let Chloe's words cloud my judgment because I was so scared of losing her too. "I see now how much I've hurt you." Hearing those words felt like a balm on my wounds, but trust isn't repaired with an apology alone. I told him, I'm willing to try, but we both need to work on rebuilding what we've lost. He agreed, and for the first time in months, I felt like we were truly on the same team. With therapy, Chloe began to open up about her feelings of abandonment after her mother left. Her manipulative behavior was a misguided cry for attention and control. While her progress was slow, there were signs of change. She began apologizing more sincerely and even took steps to mend our relationship. One evening, she handed me a card that read, "I'm sorry for what I did. I hope we can start over." It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. I also had to establish firm boundaries. Chloe needed to understand that manipulation wouldn't be tolerated. Michael and I agreed to a united front, no more taking sides. We created family rules, one of which included weekly family dinners where everyone shared their highs and lows of the week. It was awkward at first, but gradually, we found moments of connection. A few months later, Michael surprised me with a weekend getaway. "You deserve a break," he said with a smile. It was a gesture that reminded me of the man I fell in love with. Meanwhile, Chloe continued therapy and slowly began to rebuild her relationships, not just with me but also with her peers. Her transformation wasn't overnight, but she was putting in the work.